an idea I had while I was going out there, because I was thinking about buying those little tires, right? And most of the terrain around here, I think a 10-inch tire would be enough to cruise along. So one thought, make a little powered wagon that could drive itself. Okay, because then what I'm thinking, okay, as I go forward with it, I could set up essentially robot highways, right? So I'm not sure what the best way to do this would be, but if I did GPS, it's within 10 feet. That's not very, I don't want to clear a 10-foot path just so that the little 2-foot wide robot can follow its line. Line following, I don't know how effective that would be either, really. Think about that though. Dead reckoning, turn 30 degrees to the left and drive for 20 feet. Not bad, but not really good either. I could put barcode targets out. I've heard of guys doing that on robot competitions where they drive to the next barcode and then they know exactly where they are, and then they can, every time they get to a barcode, they can use that to calibrate where they are. That's an idea. But I don't honestly know if I want to spend the time learning how to do that or not. So the other idea is the vision, machine vision, you can get a robot camera to follow the red ball, right? So you hold up the ball, it says, okay, there's the ball, and then as you move it, the camera can follow and keep the ball in the center. So then if I had unique colored something out there, drive to the red ball, when you get there, look for the blue ball, drive to the blue ball. And in that case, they should be able to go pretty straight. Okay. Beyond that, could I then do obstacle avoidance and have it drive around a bush and follow? Because if I can say avoid the bush and go between the bushes and go to the red ball, then the obstacle camera could avoid the bushes, and then it could start to learn its path and always go towards the blue ball or the red ball. That might work. All right. I'm just thinking, or have it just follow me, right? Obstacle avoidance and follow me. So if I walk, and I could have a handheld controller that could just tell it which way to go. That might be simplest for now. And I'm not at the point where it's going to go bury the poop for me, although that would be freaking awesome. There's the dream. Anyway, so then I was like, okay, so what about if I did sort of an electric skateboard, only bigger? So an electric off-road skateboard using those 10-inch tires, big enough that I could stand on it. Okay. 24 volts would be fine. I think I could probably stand on it and drive across the landscape. And over time, if I made a few basic tracks, and so that's kind of my thinking is, there I go saying that again. That's kind of my idea. Have, make little robot highways that are 3 feet wide. And even if it's got to, jog around a bush and then keep going, if it could drive straight for quite a ways and then do a little bit of navigation and then keep going straight. Okay. Then I could put the bucket with dirt on it and the shovel and say go home, and I could go for a walk. And when I got back, the robot would be sitting there waiting for me, and then I could put the bucket away and put the shovel away and then plug it in again. That might be all you need. And if I had its own little charge controller on it, and then I could plug it directly into the solar panels, and then it would recharge itself, or connect it to the battery bank, and then that battery is part of the bank, and then they would equalize and all charge. And then, so the one day a week I need it, it's got its own little battery bank, and off we go. And when I don't need it, it's sitting there as part of the battery bank. That part is kind of cool. Now, I think a smaller electric motor, doesn't have to be giant motor, with gear reduction to turn an auger. I'm just trying to visualize this for a minute, Because what I'd like to be able to do is dig a hole with an auger, and all I'd have to do is pick areas that didn't have a lot of rocks in them. You know, there's areas that have a lot of rocks and some that don't. So if I could drill a 1 foot hole, 1 foot diameter is close to what the bucket is. All right. So dig like a 1 foot diameter, 2 foot deep hole, and then still would be nice if I could shred the poops, shred them and mix them better, and then pour that into the hole and then pack dirt on top of it and pack it. Right. Because what I'm thinking for, you know, efficiency, find an area that I could drill holes that are about a foot apart and just drill hole, and just kind of grid it, and then let that be for a few years, right? I mean, if I'm 50 now, if I live 30 more years, I got 80 acres, you know, that's, and then what would be ideal is, could I aerate, you know, I'm thinking, okay, could I make a better composting system where maybe I could put it in an above ground pit, which doesn't define the word pit, but make a bin or something that would be maybe mesh side. I just want to keep the flies out of it, so that part's a problem. Maybe flies are part of the solution, but I don't want maggots and flies attracted to it if I can help it, so I gotta think that through a bit. Because I'm like, okay, I could mix my coffee grounds, I could start having a separate thing of coffee grounds. But I would love to get apples growing in this stuff, right? So what about if I could take apples and coffee grounds and dirt and poop and mix that all together, and then when I go out and I plant it, maybe I could get an apple tree to grow. None of the ones that I planted last year I don't think came up, but I didn't really watch where they were exactly. So maybe that's not ideal. But, and I also didn't, I don't remember if I ever put apples in the poop or not. Don't remember. Down the line would be kind of fun to do. But, you know, if I start looking at what do I throw away that could be good compost, you know, it's mostly just banana peels, apple cores, coffee grounds is about it, I think. I don't throw a lot out. That would be good compost. Anyway, just a thought. Oh, so basically the little motorized cart could run a hole digger, auger. Because if I figure out, I mean, a gas-powered auger is about 150 bucks. All right, for I think a post-hole auger. I'm just trying to get my head around, is that worth the trouble? It would just be nice to be able to dig a faster hole. And one idea would be if I, because like the holes that I dug out here for the shed, they haven't filled in yet. So if I did start up an auger, either an electric or a gas one, I could drill a bunch of holes and just leave the pile of dirt out there, and then every time I go out to dump, I could, you know, because I only dump it twice a week. So if I drilled 10 or 15 holes one day and then put it away, that's good for a month or two. Maybe that's good enough, you know. But if I could drill them, and this would be another idea, if I got a bigger auger, I was thinking, okay, is a 6-inch auger worth doing? Should I get a bigger auger? But if I did a bigger auger, that could be useful for other projects. But I could drill, maybe I'd drill a 6-foot deep hole and just keep dumping poop in there. Because one thing for sure, the animals wouldn't get in there because they couldn't get down to the bottom. So then it would almost be like an outhouse. All right, dig a 1-foot diameter hole 5 or 6 feet deep, maybe just throw a piece of old OSB over top so nothing falls in there, a little bit of dirt on top, and then just keep, you know, 5 or 6 dumps in there, and then put dirt on top of that, and then you're done. The only thing is when it rains, that would fill up with water. I don't know that that's a problem though. I mean, it's not ideal, but if it did fill up with water within a day or two, it would just absorb. That would maybe help break it down. I still haven't got my head around how efficiently can I mix this stuff with dirt and break it down, short of making a little poop shredding machine. So, and in 4 or 5 years, do I want to actually have a proper toilet and septic system? When I build the domes, probably will. It just kind of makes sense. Because, like showers, I can still do gray water recycling off the shower. Have a drain field that goes out. Well, if I'm doing gray water recycling, I'm not using a drain field, I'm saving that water, so. Septic, washing machine. To me, it just makes more sense to run a hose out into the bushes, and because it's like, what's the difference? If I do a septic system, that water eventually goes through the sewer and goes out the drain field. I just saw something moving, but I think it's a paper towel. Anyway, probably delete this clip too, but get it out of my head. I like the idea of making the little cart though. And if I make it drive itself first, even if I remote control it at first and then give it limited intelligence as I learn how that stuff works, that would be pretty slick. I just got to, there's enough people that are doing obstacle avoidance. There's got to be information on how it works, And, worst case, if I do FPV, because I've got transmitter already. I mean, I don't have the video side of it, but it wouldn't be that hard to do FPV and have a mast camera and make myself a little Mars rover. That's still the dream. And have an area that I can drive it to a spot and leave it there. And then I can walk out there myself if I want to. And then when I get back, I could drive it back. And then as it gets smarter, it could, do overland navigation to the next highway, and then it follows the highway in. And we're done. Because when I was doing a lot of rock picking, I would get to the point where I would just follow the same track back because it was easier. And so some of those tracks are still visible from last year. Because you keep packing it down and it just stays there. So, kind of cool. Alright, moving on.